Say goodbye to Smackdown Live on the USA Network and say hello to Smackdown starting next Friday on Fox Sports. The season finale was Tuesday, and if you guys missed my off-the-script review of Smackdown Live from last night, make sure you go and check it out. Link will be above in the annotation and link down below in the description of this very video. If you don't go check it out, I will curse you all this coming Monday with Lacey Evans versus Tamina Snuka, and us looking at Lacey Evans apply the worst sharpshooter of all time. I'm only kidding. Make sure you guys go and check it out. Let's get ready for NXT.
This is mine.
What is going on, guys? Thank you so very much for joining me right here on Off the Script. This is NXT for Wednesday, September 25th, 2019. We are 1 week away, folks. 1 week away. And I knew this was going to happen. I just don't know what to call what we're about to embark on next week. I knew Triple H was going to bring it. We all knew he was going to bring it. NXT, to me, is, and always was for the last several years, the pinnacle of pro wrestling in the United States. We knew Triple H has molded NXT into being the number one brand in all of WWE, the number one brand in all of the United States. He's done an absolutely brilliant job of running everything, from assembling his team, to the way storylines are mapped out, to the way the in-ring action takes place, everything in between. Everything about NXT, I've said it for years, NXT is the perfect vision of what WWE should be. But man, I don't even know what you call next week. I really don't. They are making it very difficult for me to not watch AEW. Now, I already went on record and stated that I'll be watching AEW live and I'll be watching NXT on DVR. I might have to flip-flop now, because whatever we're getting next week, again, I don't know what you call it, but what I call it, and if I was to describe it to you in my own words, it would be next week is Triple H is not fucking around. That's what I would call it. Some would call it a mini takeover on Wednesday nights, and that's exactly what it's shaping up to be, with limited commercial interruption. That's what they're calling it. Now, I fully expect this to be an unbelievable show next week. I would not be surprised if AEW gets to jump on WWE next week and starts their show at 7:55. It's unbelievable, man, what both of these companies will do and the lengths they will go to outdo each other. But next week, we have an NXT Championship match of Matt Riddle challenging Adam Cole for the title. We have Shayna Baszler versus Candice LeRae for the NXT Women's Championship. We have the Undisputed Era, Bobby Fish and Kyle O'Reilly, which in some people's opinions is the best tag team in all of WWE, defending the NXT Tag Team titles against the Street Profits, Angelo Dawkins and Montez Ford. And if you've been watching Monday Night Raw, you will see next week what the Street Profits really are about. And it's not confirmed, but I can only assume that we're getting Walter versus Kushida next week. I'm not sure if that's going to be a UK title match. Knowing Triple H, it will be. 4 championship matches potentially next week, folks. 4. That is unreal. This is the closest thing to a takeover show on Wednesday night that we will ever see in NXT history. Now, we all knew that Wednesday was going to be the Wednesday Night Wars. The fans were going to benefit the most out of all this. And if next week is any indication about what we are about to receive, my God, give it to me. Give it to me. It's unbelievable. Now, we all knew NXT was going to step up its game. I don't know how much more they can actually step up their game. I really don't. Because they were downright perfect the way they were. Downright perfect. With AEW on the playing field, I wanted them to be a factor in making Vince McMahon sweat a little bit. I wanted them in the industry to inject some fear into WWE as it pertains to Monday Night Raw and SmackDown Live. And I don't think that's the case. I think WWE main roster has their own things to worry about. I think Fox is going to instill more fear in WWE than AEW will. But, man, this Wednesday Night War is shaping up to be unbelievable. I don't know if this is going to lead to another wrestling boom, but, man, Wednesdays is absolutely just, and I'm making a prediction here, week to week, it's going to be absolutely can't miss television. If you're into pro wrestling, if you're a pro wrestling fan, like we all are, the reason why you guys are here, it's going to be can't miss television. I can't wait. Triple H ain't fucking around, and I can't wait to see what that crazy motherfucker has planned for NXT. It's going to be great. Thank you guys so very much for joining me here on Off the Script, man. September 25th, 2019. Like I said in the beginning of the video, I will not curse you with a Tamina Snuka versus Lacey Evans match. I don't have such powers, and if I did, God help us all. If I had one power to take and change something on WWE television, goodbye, Alexa Bliss. How many people did I make salty with that one wish? Imagine that. Imagine I had one wish and I took Alexa Bliss off of television, man. How many people would cry themselves to sleep at the end of the night? I think that would make me smile from ear to ear. I might actually get a good night's sleep knowing that. Anyway, I don't know what I would change, man. 2 hours. 2 hours of Monday Night Raw and not 3. I think that's the one thing that I would do. Change Monday Night Raw from 3 hours to the maximum of 2. But we got 2 hours of NXT we're going to talk about. And if you missed my review of SmackDown Live, which is no longer on the USA Network, Tuesday was the final episode of SmackDown Live. Now we are getting ready for Friday Night SmackDown on Fox. If you guys missed my review, make sure you go and check it out. Please make sure you guys go and check it out. Did not get the review uploaded at its normal time because I was front row at an Alter Bridge concert, and I will not miss Alter Bridge for anything in the world. And after last night, I'm glad I made the obvious right decision. Make sure you guys go and check that out. Link above and link down below in the description. Make sure you follow me on social media at JD from NY206. That's on Twitter and Instagram. Make sure you follow me on both. It is imperative that you do. Twitter, most important, because you guys are updated every single day on my in real-time thoughts on the WWE product on Monday, Wednesday, and now Friday night. AEW on Wednesdays as well. And if you guys want notifications quick and fast on Twitter about the channel, that's where you get them, man. So make sure you guys follow me on Twitter and Instagram. If you guys want to support the podcast via Patreon, patreon.com/JD from NY206. If you guys want to show some extra appreciation for what I do here on the channel. And tonight's podcast is brought to you by Audible. audibletrial.com/offthescript. Make sure you guys check out Audible. Use our unique link because you are in line to get 30 days free of their service and one free audiobook of your choice. No matter what you guys are doing throughout your daily work weeks, man, you guys can take the train to work. You guys can take the train home from work. Audible's got you covered. You guys could be taking a shit. Audible's got you covered. You could be scrubbing your balls in the shower. Audible's got you covered. You want to drown out the wife while she's nagging you to take out the trash and change the kids' diapers? Audible's got you covered. You guys want to go wash the car in the backyard, maybe do some gardening as well? Audible's got you covered, man. A free audio book just for signing up. audibletrial.com/offthescript. Support the podcast. Support Audible. Get something for free today. audibletrial.com/offthescript. So, unlike last week, NXT this week was not trending. It was not trending. I don't know what that means for NXT, but it gives us the real reason as to why NXT was trending last week. And that was primarily due to the fact that the network was shitting on everybody last week, and nobody could watch the second hour of NXT last week. That was a completely different story this week, as the network suffered zero problems, and WWE took care of all of that. So it's pretty sad that NXT this week was not trending for the great show that it was tonight, and was only trending last week for not the great show, but the network outages across everybody's TV screens. So it's pretty sad that that was the reason, and that was pretty much confirmed tonight on social media. Now, with NXT, they opened this week with Dominik Dijakovic and Keith Lee. This one went 17 minutes, and I do have one minor criticism. I know everybody loved this match. I know everybody's going to love what these guys do until the end of time, as long as they're alive and breathing and in the same ring together. I do have one minor criticism about what Keith Lee and Dominik Dijakovic did. I love both guys. I think both guys are absolutely fantastic. I have very, very high expectations for both Keith Lee and Dominik Dijakovic on NXT. In fact, I was actually thinking, when watching Keith Lee, how Vince McMahon is not looking at Keith Lee and asking for him on the main roster. Because I think he's that good. Same thing with Dijakovic. Dijakovic has a look that Vince would cream his pants over. So I'm looking at both of these guys and I'm like, I could see these guys on either Raw or SmackDown. Absolutely. Right now. One minor criticism I have about this match. I want NXT next week, and I know for a fact we're going to get this next week. I want NXT to get back to consistent storytelling. Because the one reason why we all love NXT is because, A, they don't insult our intelligence, and B, their storylines are planned out in detail, and everything is mapped out, leading to a specific takeover show. Everything is consistent week to week. I feel like with last week and this week, and I know they have their reasons for doing so because they're the new kid in town on the USA Network and they have to appeal for people to tune in and watch. I don't want them to get comfortable with just putting on great matches. WWE could put on great matches from time to time, which we rarely see. I would love them to put on a great match on the main roster and let whoever go for 20 minutes. You know, they got the talent to do so. They could definitely use something like that. But I don't want NXT to resort to that because we all know that there's so much more. I feel like Dijakovic and Keith Lee were put in this position to open the show, which was a good idea. It was a good idea in theory. But to have them open the show, I feel like NXT and Triple H was kind of showing off. Because I think everybody knows what Dijakovic and Keith Lee, or at least everybody in Full Sail, and I know everybody in the back, knows what Dijakovic and Keith Lee can do in that ring. And I feel like they were used as, hey, look, we're two big guys. We're combined over 600 pounds. We got Keith Lee and Dijakovic in the ring. They're going to go out there and do shit for men their size that you'll see a Seth Rollins or an AJ Styles or a fucking Cruiserweight do. And that's the only reason why they were put out there. Go out there, do what you do, steal the show, show off, give people a reason to tune in and be like, oh my God, I've never seen anything like that before from a guy that size. They were put in that position to show off. And I know why they had to do it, and I know why their mentality might be working that way, but I don't want to see it as the number one thing that NXT does from here on out. I want to start seeing consistent storytelling. Because, honestly, who knows about Keith Lee and Dominik Dijakovic? Not many. I'm assuming not many. Like, if you're watching and you're tuning in, all you're seeing is Keith Lee and Dominik Dijakovic, two big guys, and they're fucking Spanish flying all over the place, and they're Canadian destroying all over the place, and they're doing fucking pescados all over the place, and moonsaults. You're like, wow, this is great, but who are they? Who are they? Now, WWE did the video package last week, and we all know their history if you're a regular watcher, but for a new viewer, who are they? I don't know who they are. I know that they're big and they're very athletic, but other than that, who are they? So that's my one minor criticism. It's like they just threw these guys out there to show off. They used them to pop a crowd or eye-open someone watching at home. So that's the way I felt about that. Minor criticism, otherwise great match, but the match itself, again, I would have to have a minor criticism, not only about the aspect of why the match was happening, but a minor criticism as to the lengths that they went to try and pop a casual viewer or someone in the audience. There was a sequence where Dominik Dijakovic was on the top rope. Now, this was a brutal match. I'll set it up for you. I got it in my notes here. I'll set it up for you. There was a chokeslam or a ring apron spot. Dominik Dijakovic chokeslammed Keith Lee on the edge of the apron. So that was pretty much what started it off. They went to commercial. They come back from commercial. We start seeing Keith Lee dominate. He pounced. He fucking pounced Dominik Dijakovic over the top rope. His shoulder tackle is absolutely ridiculous. He launched Dijakovic over the top rope. He then hits a corkscrew pescado on Dominik Dijakovic. Absolutely a thing of beauty. So Dijakovic ran the ropes and he countered Lee into a guillotine attempt. Lee remained on his feet. Dijakovic rolled up Lee, but Lee got to his feet and into the ropes. Referee forced a break, and Lee started headbutting Dijakovic. So Lee then rested against the top turnbuckle, then climbed to the second rope for a moonsault. A moonsault off the second rope that was picture perfect. And to see a 340-pound Keith Lee perform a move like that, it will never not be impressive. And that was only the beginning. So we got a second rope moonsault. So Lee, after that, set up Dijakovic on the top rope for a superplex. Dijakovic countered this superplex into a top rope Canadian destroyer. Top rope Canadian destroyer. Lee was on the second turnbuckle. Dijakovic came off the top turnbuckle. Now, two things here. If Keith Lee is coming down with all of his weight in that Canadian destroyer position, I don't know why anyone would risk a move like that. It would almost have to be, with a man that size, performed so precisely that he needs to do it perfect every single time to avoid injury. Keith Lee is lucky that he's not walking out on a fucking stretcher. Keith Lee is lucky that he's not paralyzed. He's not paralyzed. Because that was some scary shit. It was some scary shit. Don't know why you would go to the lengths of that to pop somebody at home or pop somebody in the audience. Now, the reason they did it was because in their last match, they did a top rope Spanish fly, which looked fucking dangerous to begin with. Then they want to one-up themselves and do a top rope Canadian destroyer. What are they going to do next time? That's what I want to know. What are they going to do to the top rope Canadian destroyer? And then on top of that, with how devastating the move looked, Keith Lee kicked out. I don't give a shit if you're Andre the fucking Giant. Nobody should be kicking out of a top rope Canadian destroyer. Buddy Murphy even tweeted out, yes, Buddy Murphy, he's not on TV, which is a fucking crime. He had Roman Reigns and Daniel Bryan and made himself over in 3 weeks, and then they took him off TV. But that's another story in its own self. Buddy Murphy tweeted, when did the Canadian Destroyer start looking like an arm drag? Because that's exactly what Keith Lee made it out to be, a fucking arm drag. He kicked out at a 2 count out of a top rope Canadian Destroyer. Then Dijakovic, after he kicked out, Keith Lee did, Dijakovic goes to the top rope on the other end of the ring and hits a fucking thing of beauty, moonsault. And Keith Lee popped up like the fucking Undertaker. He cradled Dijakovic, fireman's carry position, into his mini jackhammer, pound slam, or whatever the fuck he calls it, the big catastrophe he calls it. This jackhammer-like move, and Dijakovic was done 1, 2, 3. Love the match. I don't love the aspect of these big moves being treated as if they were fucking basic wrestling moves. What happens when someone else does a Canadian Destroyer? Now, every time you watch that and someone else does a Canadian Destroyer, the impact of the Canadian Destroyer or the devastation of a Canadian Destroyer is not going to be where it should be because of what we've seen tonight. I understand you want to pop the crowd. I understand you want to get the oohs and the ahs and the holy shits, and you want to get everybody on their feet. But don't do it at the cost of ruining something like that. Now, every time I see Adam Cole do a Panama Sunrise, I'm not going to look at it as, oh, well, you know what? This could be something that finishes his opponent off. He's just going to kick out anyway. This is my mentality. I don't like that. It's not a fucking setup move. It's not something that is basically done to weaken your opponent. It's a move that's going to fucking kill your opponent, which it almost nearly did Keith Lee. Now, one other aspect about this match. WWE did a tale of the tape between the two, like it was some MMA fight. I appreciate WWE continuing to bring realism. Yes, Vince, I hope you're taking notes. To bring realism and a more sports-like feel to the product. But one has to wonder. I've never seen them do that before, unless they did it last week and I just completely overseen it. But the tale of the tape is something that I don't remember NXT doing. Now they want to do a tale of the tape when they know AEW is about to hit television next week, and more than likely they're going to be doing a tale of the tape, and they're going to be very analytical, and they're going to be bringing statistics into the game. Now NXT wants to start doing it. Not only did they get the jump on AEW with starting on Wednesdays, 2 weeks early, now they're getting the jump on AEW as far as minor analytics and statistics with their matches on TV. One has to wonder, is it genuine? Is it something that NXT wanted to do to bring a sense of realism, or did they want to do it to get the jump on AEW and be the first to do it before AEW hits TV? Nobody knows. Nobody knows. Again, a minor criticism, but those are my thoughts on Keith Lee and Dominik Dijakovic. I love both guys. I think they're fantastic. But one has to wonder where they go from here. Are we going to see a best of 5, a best of 7? What's going to come out of it? Will they end up like Sheamus and Cesaro at the end of their best of 7 and just end up being a tag team in the end? Because if that's the case, sign me up. There's nobody that's going to beat them. I'd love to see them just shake hands, make amends, and just devastate the entire tag team division. So we'll see what happens. But otherwise, awesome, awesome stuff. If you're an NXT newbie, there you go. Your first introduction to Keith Lee and Dominik Dijakovic. I can guarantee you that you're a fan of both guys after the end of tonight. Dakota Kai and Taynara, who is Jobber Status 101. Dakota Kai wins in 2 minutes with her DTK finisher. This was nothing more than a return match to present Dakota Kai to the audience. One has to wonder also with this, why this match was on in this spot during the Live USA airing, and why they didn't put Oney Lorcan and Danny Burch on in this spot. But the only thing I can come up with is Dakota Kai is back. They want to show Dakota Kai off to a larger audience on the USA Network because they're about to strap the rocket pack to Dakota Kai. She looked great. She looked very emotional. She was about to tear up. She was very happy to be back. She looks great. And I love the new hair color. So there you go. Dakota Kai is back. I'm happy that she's back. She adds a lot to the NXT women's division. And this was a no-doubter. A no-brainer. There was no way Dakota Kai was losing this. She wins in 2 minutes. Happy to have her back. Taynara, I can see Vince all over Taynara. I think Taynara is one of those that is really not going to find anything to do outside of what she's doing right now in NXT. You put her on the main roster and she'll be the next Lacey Evans in the eyes of Vince McMahon. That's the way I see Taynara. So it might be sooner rather than later. She might be in NXT now doing enhancement jobs, but in Vince McMahon's eyes, being that he is going to be more eyes on the product, he might look at Taynara and say, I want her on Monday Night Raw immediately. That's the way I see Taynara's future ending up. Dakota Kai wins. Happy to have her back. Matt Riddle versus Killian Dain. This was a number 1 contenders street fight. And the winner of this match, we didn't know. We kind of assumed. We didn't know when this championship match would happen. Then they announced it. Breaking news, which was not really breaking news because we all assumed that Triple H was going to do whatever he had to do to compete with AEW next Wednesday. Next Wednesday is the night. NXT Championship is going to be defended in the main event of NXT Live. Matt Riddle is now the number 1 contender for the NXT Championship. He beat Killian Dain. He finally moves on from Killian Dain. This was crazy. This one went 18 minutes. 18 minutes. And this was a standard match for the first little portion of it. Then they started to take the action out into the audience. So they brawled at ringside, and Riddle threw some big roundhouse kicks at Killian Dain. He was sitting in a chair, was Dain, and he threw some big roundhouse kicks into the chest of Killian Dain, picked up the chair, threw it at Dain. He then threw, I think it was into some production crates. And then after the whole production crate spot, Dain started to fight himself back into the match. Riddle was leaned up against this black wall. And Killian Dain comes flying out of nowhere with his divide low cross body and plows Matt Riddle right through this wall. Breaks the entire wall in two, and everybody's chanting, holy shit. Then they go to a commercial break right then and there. They're back live after commercial break. Riddle is now in the bleachers. He's leaping off the bleachers onto Killian Dain through a table. So it's crazy. At the end of that first sequence, they go through a wall. Commercial break. They come back from commercial break. The first thing you see is Matt Riddle leaping off the bleachers through Killian Dain through a table. So they brawled back to ringside. Riddle sat Dain in front row, started kicking him a few times, giving people their money's worth. Back to the ring, he continued to kick Dain, and Riddle landed a slingshot leg drop off the top. Or over the ropes, not off the top. He went for the floating bro off the top, and he got a 2 count there. Killian Dain went for some Vader bombs. He hit 3 Vader bombs. That's the same way he ended Matt Riddle the first time that they wrestled. 3 Vader bombs, and he pinned Matt Riddle clean. He did the 3 Vader bombs again, and Matt Riddle kicked out. So, at that point, then we start getting weapons involved in the match. We get a kendo stick involved. We got chairs involved. Riddle threw Dain a chair. When he caught it, he kneed the chair right into Killian Dain's face. Scored a very, very close near fall. Riddle sat up. He was sweating profusely. He was breathing very heavy. He put a chair on Dain's chest. He broke out a kendo stick. He took the kendo stick and started lashing the chair onto Killian Dain with the kendo stick. The kendo stick bounced off the chair so hard, it landed on Matt Riddle's shoulder, and everybody gave him a standing ovation. He took the kendo stick and did it again to Killian Dain. So he mounted Dain and started going after him with some stiff rights. Riddle set up the bro mission, but Dain stood up and picked up a chair. Riddle knocked the chair back into Dain and then threw a huge fury of strikes at him. Dain punched back. Riddle then won the match, not with the bro mission, but he won with a Fujiwara armbar, and Killian Dain tapped. I love the fact that Matt Riddle tapped out Killian Dain with something that's not the bro mission. I love that because it just makes Matt Riddle seem that much more dangerous for anybody that he's in the ring with. It doesn't make him a one-dimensional guy. Oh, he's going to go for the bro mission. That's his only out as far as the submission goes. No, he can apply literally anything. He's going to beat you in a multitude of ways. And I love the fact that he ended Killian Dain here with a Fujiwara armbar. So Matt Riddle, after a great street fight, finally this feud is over. Matt Riddle wins in 18 minutes. He earns an NXT title match next week on the USA Network against Adam Cole in what will probably be the main event. Adam Cole walked out with the NXT title. Now, the Undisputed Era at the start of the show, we knew that they were there. We knew that they were going to have some sort of presence on this show. Mauro, Nigel, and Beth Phoenix were set up. And I love the way that they have the commentary set up. It looks very, very professional. And they were on this tower right above the commentary booth, and all 4 of them were overlooking Full Sail with all their championships. So Undisputed Era was there. Matt Riddle made his presence known. He walked out with the NXT title. He stood over Riddle and told him that he isn't in his league. Do you hear me, Riddle? You're not in my league. Riddle then yanked Adam Cole with his arm, applied the Fujiwara armbar. Cole immediately tapped. The rest of the Undisputed Era ran out. Riddle fled the scene, but Adam Cole was pictured tapping out to Matt Riddle at the end of the first hour. I like this because it makes Matt Riddle look strong going into next week. It's also pretty much set up what the outcome of next week's match is going to be. Matt Riddle is not winning the NXT Championship. Now, there may be a shock title change next week, but it's not going to come in the form of Undisputed Era. Adam Cole is not losing the NXT Championship to Matt Riddle next week. All that ending did for the first hour was make Matt Riddle look strong, and it gave you a predictable outcome, because there's no reason why they're going to have this type of level match on next week's show with zero build. There's no build. And Matt Riddle, I can't really tell if he's being punished or if they're building him up. I don't know. Because the way that they played it off is the fact that he got thrown into this feud with Killian Dain. It's almost as if they were building Dain up and punishing Riddle. Now, Riddle may be out of the doghouse, but he's not winning the NXT Championship. And I don't know to the extent that NXT will go to make Matt Riddle look good against the Undisputed Era. For all we know, we could see Killian Dain come out next week and ruin Matt Riddle's chances. But Matt Riddle is not winning the NXT Championship. There's no way you're going to have him win the championship based off zero build. Zero build. And I don't know if this is going to continue on into TakeOver. I doubt it will. Because I think Undisputed Era is going to be in War Games. I don't think there's going to be an NXT Championship match at War Games. Now, with Matt Riddle and Adam Cole, it could last the next couple of months until we get to November. But with Matt Riddle, I feel that he is just a interim. He's a means to Ciampa's end. I think they're just placing him right now for the sake of the war with AEW. Because this is the most high-profile match that they could possibly get with the NXT Championship right now that they have not explored yet for the NXT Championship. I feel like Ciampa is either going to show face next week or show face eventually. For all we know, he may be the one to attack Matt Riddle next week and say, no, nobody's taking this championship off of Adam Cole except for me. And when he comes back, he's going to get a hero's welcome. And he has two reasons why he would come back. To avenge Johnny and what Adam Cole did to Johnny Gargano, and to get Goldie back, which he never lost fair and square in a one-on-one match. So WWE has a few different directions they could do here. Do we see Ciampa next week in the NXT title match? It's a possibility. I'm not going to bank on it because Ciampa came out and said, well, this is news to me. The internet doctors cleared me, but my physician told me that I'm not ready to go yet. Give it another couple of weeks. But being the magnitude that is this show next Wednesday, I do think we see Ciampa in some way, shape, or form. Whether he interferes in the NXT Championship match remains to be seen, but I do think he is there and shows his presence. Matt Riddle is nothing more than a means to Ciampa's end. That championship is not going from Cole to Riddle. It's going from Cole to Tommaso Ciampa. So those are my thoughts on hour one. Very good first hour. Very good first hour. But going into next week, I hope that all of these questions and these concerns are rectified going into the 2-hour live version on the USA Network. We'll get into hour two on the WWE Network, guys. Quickly, I want to shout out my sponsor, my fine friends over at Harry's. Harrys.com/script. $13 value trial set can be yours. Razor handle, choice of color is up to you. The navy blue, the orange, or the evergreen. 5-blade razor with a lubricating strip and a trimmer blade. Rich lathering shave gel, which soothes, hydrates, keeps your skin very hydrated, man, because of that nice aloe that's incorporated into the shave gel. And a travel blade cover as well to keep your razor dry and easy on the go. Make sure you guys sign up by using our unique link, harrys.com/script. Get yourself the best shave of your life. Use Harry's, harrys.com/script. Hour two started off with Oney Lorcan and Danny Burch against Chase Parker and Matt Martell. And they're going by the name of Ever Rise. I don't know if that's a name that WWE has given them, or if that was a previous name that they were using elsewhere. Ever Rise, it sounds like something that happens when you take Blue Chew and go to BlueChew.com and use promo code JD. Believe me, you take Blue Chew and use code JD, you will be ever rising, bro. Believe me. Anyway, Chase Parker and Matt Martell versus Oney Lorcan and Danny Burch. I love Oney Lorcan and Danny Burch. I think they are just a great tag team. Very simplistic, nothing too fancy. and they're very over with the NXT crowd. But this Ever-Rise team of Chase Parker, and Matt Martell, I don't know how, I don't know why, but they reminded me, and I loved the Mountie. I loved Jean-Pierre Lafitte with Johnny Polo. A lot of people ask me, JD, why did you love the Quebecers so much? I thought they were fucking awesome. The Mountie was great. And I think Jean-Pierre Lafitte complimented the Mountie so well. And then you add Johnny Polo as their manager. I thought it was a complete tag team. I really did. Now, we got Martel here, Matt Martel. He reminded me of a young Jean-Pierre Lafitte. I don't know why, and I don't know how. I'm just thinking the Quebecers when I look at these guys. They were very capable. They were very good in the ring. Now, if WWE got behind these guys and gave them a little bit, and they started to build characters out of them and give them a backstory and, kind of portray that onto the WWE fans, this is something that could lead to yet another tag team in NXT. And the addition of another tag team, in my eyes, is desperately needed for this tag team division right now, because right now, it's Undisputed Era and nobody else. The Street Profits are there, but they're not going to win the tag team championships again. They'll probably end up getting demoted to Monday Night Raw. Then you got Oney Lorcan and Danny Burch. You got Imperium, who are here now. You could use Tyler Bate and Trent Seven if you wanted. You could bring over, Mark Andrews. And who's the other fucking guy? I can't think of his name. Can't think of his fucking name right now. I'm drawing a blank. Oh my God. Flash Morgan Webster. I knew I was going to get it. I don't know why I drew a blank. I am so fucking tired, man. I got 4 hours of sleep from the Alter Bridge concert last night, doing Smackdown, and doing this. I am out. I'm out to lunch. You could use those guys. Flash Morgan Webster and Mark Andrews. They got tag teams at their disposal. They got Breezango. I think Breezango is going to be the next in line, to be honest with you, to get the tag team title shot at the Undisputed Era after they dispose of the Street Profits next week. But I think these guys could have a shot at being something. I really do. But this was very academic. Oney Lorcan and Danny Burch win in 6 minutes with their double team DDT finisher, and that was pretty much it. Hope to see more of Chase Parker and Matt Martell, and hopefully they start building some characters out of them. We'll see what happens. Raul Mendoza. I love Raul Mendoza, man. I think Raul Mendoza is very underrated. Very underrated. He went against Cameron Grimes. Raul Mendoza is probably, and everybody else in that breakout tournament, Isaiah Scott, and you got fucking ACH, Jordan Miles, and everybody in that weight class, they have to be so thrilled with the possibility of NXT taking on the Cruiserweight division and 205 Live being integrated into 205 Live. Raul Mendoza, man, I don't mean this in any disrespectful way, but WWE has used him in NXT as a quality jobber. And he's so much more than that. His abilities clearly prove that. If WWE starts to integrate 205 Live into the NXT roster, Raul Mendoza has the makings of something incredibly special. Because the guy is fucking fantastic. And he is way too good to be in the current position that he's in right now. Cameron Grimes, there's a reason why WWE is pushing Cameron Grimes more so than Jordan Miles, who won the breakout tournament. Jordan Miles has no character. Jordan Miles is great at what he does. He's been doing this for quite some time. He's absolutely picture perfect in everything that he does. He has nothing wrong with him in that ring. He's got no character. Who is he? What is he? Why should I care? So I don't know what's happening with Jordan Miles when he just won the breakout tournament, challenged Adam Cole for the NXT Championship, but we haven't seen him since, and we've seen Cameron Grimes and WWE continuing to add character and depth to Cameron Grimes. Give him some video packages. And he's been featured on not one but two of the NXT live shows since their debut on the USA Network. It's like Triple H is seeing what we all saw as a community in both Jordan Miles and Cameron Grimes. Jordan Miles, respected by a lot of people, but what is he? Why should I care? Cameron Grimes, I think, is more Triple H's style. I really do. because they're putting a lot more stock into Cameron Grimes than they are Jordan Myles. And I think he's just, honestly, when it boils down to it, again, no disrespect to ACH, Jordan Myles, I just think Cameron Grimes is a lot more marketable. And he's a little bit more basic in the ring, which will lead to him getting over. They have a ton of baby faces in NXT. They don't need more baby faces. They need heels. Cameron Grimes clearly is playing the right character. He's a heel that's going to get over. They're giving him TV time. He's great in the ring. If he continues to develop that character of his, he could be a top-level heel within a single year in WWE. You give him 12 months, he's going to be at the top of the NXT roster as far as the heel goes. I just need to see that character develop over the next 12 months. But obviously WWE sees something in him because it's not a coincidence that he's on the first 2 live NXT shows and Jordan Myles, who won the Breakout Tournament, is not. This one went 7 minutes. Raul Mendoza is fantastic. This was not a squash match by any means. Raul Mendoza is going to give Cameron Grimes a fight, and that's exactly what he did. Mendoza, he came off the top ropes with a walking the tightrope missile drop kick, which was beautiful. Springboard drop kick. Like I said, Mendoza took out Grimes with an avalanche Frankensteiner for a near fall. Grimes then took out Mendoza with a roll-up, and that led to the double foot stomp for the win. Cameron Grimes gets the win over Raul Mendoza. I would love to see more of Raul Mendoza. And like I said, with 205 Live hopefully being integrated into NXT, I think Raul Mendoza's future is bright on NXT. Main event, Imperium, Fabian Eichner, Alexander Wolf, and Marcel Bartel versus Kushida and his mystery partners, which ended up being Tyler Breeze and Fandango. I love Imperium. They have the most epic entrance in all of WWE. It is fucking a thing of beauty. I mentioned this last week. I love it. The best entrance in all of WWE. Kushida is someone that we haven't seen a lot of. They've really done a good job at protecting him. And Breezango. I mentioned this when Breezango hit NXT. I'm not sure if you guys remember, if you've been watching me on Wednesdays. I love Tyler Breeze. I think Fandango has looked great since his return. They're both quality guys. They're both quality in the ring, I think. Them being in NXT is just a right fit. I love the new theme. I love the new presentation. I would be lying to you if I told you that they've made the full transformation into making this a full NXT on tag team. They haven't. I do sense a little of that residual from Monday Night Raw and Smackdown Live. I know how great they are in the ring. I want them to be a little bit more serious and less comedy. Now, they did not show any of that comedic style in the ring. It's okay to go out there and be fun and lighthearted, but when the bell rings, I want you to be all business. Because they are, in my eyes, the next contenders for the Undisputed Era Tag Team titles. If they keep that the way it is right now, and they could even tone it down just a little bit more, just a little bit, a cunt's hair, I think Breezango would be the perfect fit for NXT's tag team division. I love everything about them. I love the new look. I love the new outfits. I love the new theme. It's just a good tag team. They work very good together, and both complement each other very well. This was a great 6-man tag. Now, what happened last week was Kushida confronted Walter, and Walter was laying down the gauntlet. You know, the mat is sacred, he told Kushida. So they're here in NXT. They want to make their mark. They want to show why everybody the mat is sacred. Kushida comes out. He feels like Kushida disrespected him and the in-ring mat. So they teased a match stemming from last week. Now, Kushida said that he's going to go out and find two challengers against Imperium. Walter says, you know what? I'm going to send my guys out there to teach you a lesson and show you why the mat is sacred. So I love the idea. This is perfect. It was done with a strategic thought in mind. Like, the mat is sacred. They know that Imperium's gimmick is the mat is sacred. Who can we get to team with Kushida that would basically shit all over that catchphrase? They found the perfect 2 guys. Breezango. Oddball pairing with Kushida, but nonetheless, it goes perfectly to coincide with the Imperium motto of the mat is sacred. Because Breezango is lighthearted and comedic. And they start dancing. They look like they're about to go fucking strip at Chippendales. You know? Next thing you know, they're popping out of a fucking wedding cake at a bachelorette party. But I thought this was great. I thought this was a perfect pairing, and it goes well with what they are building up here. Imperium thinks Kushida is disrespecting the sacred mat. Kushida and Breezango win. This was awesome towards the end. Tyler Breeze was being beat up 3-on-1 for the majority of this match. Breeze finally made the hot tag to Fandango. Took on everybody. He looked fantastic. Landed a Falcon Arrow. Ducked a charging Bartel. He followed with a dive onto all three members of Imperium at ringside. Kushida tagged himself in, landed a springboard missile dropkick on Bartel, shifted into a cross arm breaker. Wolf and Eichner broke it up. I love Eichner and Bartel, by the way. They are fucking fantastic in their own right. So, springboard missile dropkick on Bartel, cross arm breaker on Wolf and Eichner. All 6 guys now battling it out. Kushida landed a handspring double heel kick on Wolf and Eichner. Went after Bartel in the ring. Bartel countered with an uppercut. You're a fucking flying European uppercut to the back of Kushida's head. Kushida then rolled up Bartel for a leverage 3 count. And he got the fluke victory over Imperium as Kushida celebrated on the stage. He was doing the same mannerism over and over and over again. I'm like, Walter's going to come out and fucking blast this guy from behind, isn't he? And that's exactly what Walter did. Walter attacked him from behind, big booted him into oblivion. Fans were chanting, Walter, Walter, Walter. The rest of Imperium joined Walter on stage. They held their hands behind their back, and they stood proud as NXT went off the air. This was a very good show. Was it better than last week? I don't think so. I don't think so. I hope the ratings are very consistent. I hope the ratings are in WWE's favor. They will certainly be in WWE's favor next week, because they're loading that fucking show up to a point where it's going to be can't miss. But I think a lot of people's eyes are going to be on AEW, because they are debuting. They're the new kid in town, and everybody wants to see what they have up their sleeve. So we'll see what happens, man. Starting next Wednesday, it is going to be very competitive, and the Wednesday Night Wars are going to heat up. I can't wait, and I'll be here to cover it all for you guys right here on Off the Script. Thank you guys so very much, man. Hit that thumbs up, and make sure you guys follow me on social media. Go and check out that SmackDown review video that I uploaded this afternoon, man. It's been up since 4:30. Go and check it out. I know it was a little late, but I would appreciate you guys if you show some support on that video and get it to where it needs to be, where it usually is during this time of the day, man. Thank you guys so very much. I am getting out of here, and I will see you all right back here on Off the